for ever since we started in 1999. And in our neighborhood, we have something what is kind of part of what I grew up and many people think is a given. It's Dillingham Airfield in Mokuleia, and it's also an important part of our travel and tourism industry. And now this airfield is in the process of being closed, and we hope this won't happen. But we're going to get some background from Melissa, why this is, what's going on, and who she represents. Aloha, Melissa.
Aloha, Jurgen. Thanks for having me on. And you get extra points because you said my last name perfectly. So, good way to start. Um, so, I think you mentioned I manage government affairs issues in AOPA's Western Pacific region. AOPA stands for the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. We are the largest general aviation organization in the world. We represent general aviation pilots and aircraft owners mostly, also aviation enthusiasts. And for those that are listening that aren't familiar with general aviation, it encompasses all aviation except for commercial airline and military operations.
Okay, and so your organization is really a global organization. So you guys take care of people who own aircraft, also in the tourism field. I understand you take care of is it operators of sightseeing tours and helicopter tours and things like this?
Yep. So it actually is interesting because one of the business owners at Dillingham is a member and one of actually a volunteer for us in our volunteer network. So that does bring it full circle that, our advocacy efforts are directly helping one of our members and businesses there on the field. But yeah, we have over 1,400 members in Hawaii. A lot of them are active at Dillingham. Like I said, business owners, a lot of people keep their airplanes there. So right away, when we heard about this issue, it was really clear that there was an urgency to get involved right away.
Yeah, no, and I understand this. And as I said, Dillingham is an important part of the economy on Oahu's North Shore. It's kind of integrated. For those that don't know Hawaii, of course, there's Honolulu, and we have our big international airport here in Honolulu, our commercial aircraft. But then there is the other side of the island, what's kind of the country part of the island, where sometimes people think nothing ever changes on the North Shore, and that is true, except for the traffic that has changed tremendously. But over the years, and I lived there for I think a little bit more than 30 years, things really haven't changed that much. And except there's more commercial development in form of restaurants and stores. But what has changed specifically, of course, before the Corona outbreak is the number of visitors coming in and people really exploring the beauty of the North Shore. Anything from the turtles, from Waimea Bay. And a big part of this experience on the North Shore is to see um, maybe the North Shore from the sky, and also what is one of the probably the number one attractions for those that have the guts to do it is to jump from an airplane, skydiving, and this is really what is a became a big trademark for the North Shore, and it became business, and many people rely on this business, and it's a fun thing for tourists to do. It's something different than just hanging out at the beach. And so, what is happening there? Why are people talking about closing all of this?
So last year, the Department of Transportation Airports Division in the state of Hawaii made it known that their intention was to terminate prematurely the lease with the Army. So the airfield there, Dillingham Airfield, it's actually a joint use airfield, which essentially means there's civil operations during the day, and then the Army does military operations at night. So there's a lease agreement between the state and the Department of Defense, the Army. And so that had been a long time lease agreement. So the intent was for them to terminate so that there will no longer be civil use there at Dillingham.
Wow. And it's kind of stunning to hear this, because it is really something what directly will involve the already now very much fragile travel and tourism industry, what we all hope must be rebuilt soon. There's going to be a major thing missing on the North Shore. It will probably affect the many restaurants and the many reasons and people, not only on the North Shore, also in Waikiki and other parts that are selling these tours, that are operating tours. And what are you guys doing to reverse this or stop this?
That's a good question. And just to piggyback on something you said there, there's over 130 employees of over 11 businesses on the field. So you figure this has been a rough year for everyone. So, it's a point worth mentioning, not to forget that these are people's livelihoods, it's their families, their businesses. From what I understand, the Dillingham attracts more than 50,000 visitors to the North Shore. There's a direct economic impact of $12.6 million, which is a measurable economic impact. So I think that's worth mentioning. But to your point, there has been a huge effort amongst the community and stakeholder groups that are very serious about coming up with viable solutions to keep the airfield open to civil use. So we've had a range of proposals submitted to the Department of Transportation suggesting, viable solutions. I do believe that there's going to be state legislation, that's going to be introduced by likely the representatives and senators that have Dillingham in their district, and so we're really hopeful that that is going to offer up an excellent solution that's amenable to everybody, so that we can keep, Dillingham thriving just as it is today. So that's the main objective. Is it's an airfield that's worth saving, absolutely. So that's our mission right now. It's really focused on committed to do everything we can to keep the airfield open.
How is the response on this from our local senators, like Senator Schatz or Representative Hirono and so forth? Is this supportive? I know Senator Schatz specifically has criticized the safety for helicopter tours, what was not directly related to Dillingham, but this was corrected to another island, to Kauai. But he, sometimes I think maybe do you get any support from federal lawmakers from Hawaii?
Yeah, we actually just a couple days ago, there was a joint conference that was from Congressman Ed Case and Congressman-elect Kai Kahele, who now will have in his new second congressional district, Dillingham will be part of that district. So in a recent news, press conference, they actually had shared support for saving Dillingham, for finding solutions. And I was really impressed by a comment that Congressman-elect Kahele said, that really, again, brought it full circle to, the aviators that understand just this incredible environment that we have there and at Dillingham, is that this could really hinder opportunities for youth in Hawaii. Dillingham has a 9,000-foot runway, which is incredible for pilots that are in training. The North Shore offers unrestricted airspace, which you cannot find at any other part of Oahu. Other parts of the island have military areas that are restricted to civil aviation. And then, of course, you have Daniel K. Inouye Airport that is protected by what we call Class Bravo airspace, um, which is very restrictive, and you have Kaliloa underneath that airspace as well. So again, so there's a really unique opportunity for training and all of the things that go on at Dillingham. And we were so thankful that the congressman-elect made that, really clear that we had their support. So additionally, the state legislators have been really incredibly helpful, and I'm impressed by what they've done to try to keep the airport thriving. Senator Rivera has been just a champion, and Representative Matsumoto as well, Representative Quinlan as well. So, we're really thankful for that support, and we are hopeful that that continues as we go into the third week of January when the session of Hawaii starts.
And that's also, of course, the time when we have a new federal administration under President Biden. Would that make any difference, you think?
I think all in all, we see that there is a lot of support for general aviation. It's a thriving industry. It's an opportunity, like I said, for youth to get really wonderful jobs in the aviation and aerospace, career fields. So I think all in all, we do see support on the national level, and they recognize, especially amongst COVID, we've seen examples in Hawaii where right when COVID was starting, the Civil Air Patrol and the Coast Guard, they were bringing personal PPE, personal protection equipment, to other areas that didn't have it via general aviation aircraft. So I was really proud to see that. And, we see that nationwide whenever there is, some type of natural disaster. We have wildfires a lot in California, as you may know, but general aviation really steps up to the plate to be there in a time of need. And I think COVID has really highlighted that. And I think that that's recognized nationally.
Of course, the North Shore is known for its laid back mentality. And how is the response from the local business community? Have you spoken to the North Shore Chamber of Commerce, for example? Are there any action groups that are supporting you? What's the attitude within the local business community on the North Shore?
Well, I think all in all, it seems like the community has really been very supportive. Like I said, there's 11 businesses on the field. And that's in employment. It brings measurable economic impact. So I think all in all, people realize that that's the case. Again, these are people's lives and their their families and all that are being affected. Prior to COVID, I was there for Senator Rivera, Rep. Quinlan, Representative Matsumoto had a community town hall meeting. And there was an incredible turnout from everybody in the community that really wanted to know how they could help to show their support to save the airfield. So I think all in all, people are really supportive of our efforts, and we might need them to, kind of step up to the plate if we ask in the next couple of months here as the advocacy piece and legislative piece comes together to tell their elected officials, hey, this airfield is worth saving. Please make sure that message is running through the halls of the state legislature and getting to the elected officials federally and on the local and state level, because that's going to make the difference.
Yeah, and I think what people sometimes seems to forget is it is not only the 11 businesses you said that are directly on the airfield and probably would have to close. It's also the business impact specifically for the North Shore. And there are many, many more business than these 11 business, from restaurants and other attractions that kind of live also on having the airfield around with the opportunities they bring and attract the tourism industry to come to the North Shore. It's probably also, I would think, it's very important because of COVID. Everyone in the North Shore has talked about over tourism. Many people said we don't want any more tourism. Well, guess what? I mean, with 90% decrease in arrivals, that I think has changed quite a bit. We have to be creative, specifically in the travel and tourism industry, to attract people, because now Hawaii is really competing with other destinations. Numbers of people that are traveling anywhere in the world are down, and they're down, and they will be down most likely. Regardless of vaccine and everything, it's going to take years to recover. So thinking about over tourism is definitely not an issue, and Hawaii has to be attractive for visitors to come. And what Dillingham Airfield brought to the plate is something very unique, because people are looking for these niche activities to do besides, of course, being at the beach, but you can be at the beach anywhere in the world. So it's are you what's the activity? Are there any petitions or anything what is planned to get more awareness for the situation?
Yes, there has been. There actually is a website that was started for the exact reason to try to make sure that if people wanted to get involved, to kind of gear them in the right direction to do that. I believe it's savedillinghamairfield.org. But, to your point about COVID, there's definitely been obviously a negative effect to the state, to the country, to the world. But I know there's, definitely been a resurgence since the 14-day quarantine restrictions have changed. So I think the businesses are probably happy to see that tourism coming back to Dillingham. And of course, we anticipate that will continue happening, as we're hopeful that things will get better as far as the, COVID situation.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the numbers are not even remotely close, and I cannot be expected to come back even close to the numbers before. And my
Right.
point, I think, was really to prepare for this. I can tell you when I walked through Waikiki, and that's where I live right now, very close. Kalakaua Avenue, our main busiest road for many weeks, was like a ghost. It was like a ghost town. I mean, literally, you could probably sleep in the middle of Kalakaua Road and you wouldn't be bothered for hours. It was that bad. Now, tourism, yes, numbers are slowly dripping back. I think our best arrival was the first day when we opened. We have on every given day, we used to have 30 to 35,000 visitors arriving in the state. And the first day we had about 7,000, 6,800, I believe, arriving, but that dropped down to a lot lower numbers, and the numbers have not been the same as on October 15th. So you cannot really say tourism is coming back and it's going to be all okay. I think specifically the local community on the North Shore should really get active. It's no time to be in this laid back attitude right now. And I hope everyone who has a business interest on the North Shore will see this and really support you guys and the business community in Dillingham and Mokuleia to keep this airfield open. Now, from many of our listeners, of course, are not in Hawaii, but many love Hawaii, and many sell Hawaii as a destination. We have many travel agents and tour operators. What could a travel agency or tour operator do to help you?
I think just to continue to spread the message of how attractive Dillingham Airfield is to visit. And like you mentioned, there's so many things to do. It's really unique, really exciting, really fun. Skydiving, hang gliding, flight training. There's this coexistence of so many really exciting operations that happen there. And that combined with good weather, a high number of good weather days, the ridge line, the trade winds that are there, you're not going to experience that anywhere in the world. It's so unique to Dillingham and the North Shore. Um, so I think that that message, to continue being out there, will obviously have the unique experience for anybody that comes from around the world to Dillingham.
Tell us the website again.
The website, let me make sure I say it right, savedillinghamairfield.org.
Okay, we're going to also put this in the description and in the article. And if there's anything else we can do from our end to support you, you definitely got my support. I told you before, this was my home from literally half of my life, and we want to do good for our home. And it is one of the most beautiful areas in the world, I know. Even when you live there, every time I came back and I said, wow, this is so beautiful. And we need to keep it up. We need to keep the economy going. And specifically now, we're all in this together with COVID, and this is just a small part, and there's absolutely no reason to close down this airfield. I agree with you, and thanks for your work, Melissa. And anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for having me on the show today. I think I'm very thankful for the positive messages to be out there. We need all the support we can get to make sure that the airfield remains open to civil use. But again, it's worth saving. We're just the community and the groups that are involved, they're really committed to doing everything to ensure that the airfield continues to thrive. So we're hoping that that's the case for decades to come.
I couldn't agree more with you. Mahalo, Melissa, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. And thanks for being on the show. And please keep us informed, because we're definitely going to follow this story also on eTurbo News. And if any of your members need any support, just we're only a phone call away, and see, or maybe we can add a little bit to your success saving Dillingham Airfield.
Thank you very much, Mahalo, for having me.
Mahalo. Thank you. Bye-bye.